Welcome to Intrigue into the unknown and unusual. Tonight we will be looking at an interesting phenomenon that's been occurring in the skies. Is it of the natural, or is it indeed of the unknown? Stay tuned and find out.
It's very intriguing when a mystery arises, when something new is discovered, when everything is thought to have been discovered, or so it seems. And that's kind of the premise when talking about aerial events and phenomena that occur above and within our atmosphere. So, this comes to a shock that this phenomenon has been recently discovered within just the past years. Maybe 2 or 3. So, what is it? Which brings us to Steve. Meet Steve. Steve is an atmospheric phenomenon that is, according to Earth and Sky, a kind of sky glow. So you might be asking yourself, well, what is a sky glow? So a sky glow is defined as the diffuse luminance of the night sky, apart from discrete light sources, such as the moon and individual stars. It is commonly noticed, or I should say, it is a commonly noticed aspect of light pollution. So it begs the question, is this some sort of weird light pollution, or something else? It seems like it might be something else. Okay, so enough with the scientific definitions and stuff. Let's go ahead and check Steve out. As you can see, Steve is a purple streak in the sky, and that's important to remember for later. Now, Steve can come in a slightly different variation of purple and white, but more than anything, Steve is purple. So here's what we know about Steve. This is coming from Live Science. And it notes that back in July of 2016, the European Space Agency had a satellite pass through the Steve phenomenon and was able to confirm that it was, as they note, a pipeline of incredibly fast, ridiculously hot gas slicing through the atmosphere. And it was about 200 miles above the Earth. And get this, Steve was a whopping 5,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Much hotter than the air on both sides of the phenomenon. And it wasn't like it was a little streak of air. It was 16 miles wide. And it was also moving at about 500 times faster than the air around it. It's also likely that because of the distance above the Earth, that this is more than likely related to an ionospheric process. And those occur between 50 to 600 miles above the Earth, just under the magnetic field. So scientists are trying to determine the origins of how Steve occurs, because it doesn't happen all the time, and it's recently been discovered. So is it something that's been going on with solar fluctuations, or maybe something from a supernova from a distant star? We have yet to figure that out. It's important to note what scientists think that Steve is, because it seems like more and more often people are reporting purple hues in the sky, and not just some streak that's high above the earth. These are purple colors that are occurring after storms in the middle of the night. So what's going on with those? One of the more intriguing footages that are appearing are those from after Hurricane Michael. After this hurricane, people have been reporting that the skies have been turning purple, and it gives this eerie glow wherever they go. So what's going on with this? This is obviously not Steve, but is it something else? It seems as though that this may be a phenomenon that occurs or is referred to as scattering. This occurs when light particles get scattered about and they get filtered through different things, and such as in this case they were filtered through the clouds, and as the sun begins to set, the sun passes through a different type or a little bit more atmosphere, which is why it turns red. And because because the clouds are blue, have a blue tinge to it, it turns purple, or at least something along those lines. And that's what scientists say, that the skies turn purple, or at least in this scenario. So are the purple skies from after Hurricane Michael or just an issue of scattering? Let me know your thoughts below in the comment section. Or is there something else going on? While purple streaks in the sky and purple skies after a huge weather event may be explained by science, the next part is definitely of the unknown. Now, there may be a scientific explanation for these, and maybe it's just some weird swamp gas, but check out the footages coming up next. Now, in the footage that you are going to see, this is coming from the Philippines. As you can see, the sky has a purple light being emitted into it. Now, this is occurring over the waters, so this isn't some sort of light pollution, or at least not a normal one. But what makes it very fascinating, if you keep watching, you'll see the purple light all of a sudden disappears, as though there's a switch that turns it off. While there may be a logical explanation for this instance, it has yet to be discovered. And it seems quite unusual for this to be a natural phenomenon. So is this something that is man-made? And if so, what is it? And the Philippines isn't the only place that has these bizarre purple skies that have no logical explanation for it, or one that hasn't been discovered yet. There's other footages out there where purple skies are being seen throughout the world. One explanation that's being thrown out there regarding this phenomenon with the purple skies is that this is an effect of greenhouse gases being released and somehow mixing with lighting or some other things in the air is causing purple skies to be seen. Kind of like with swamp gas, that the gases that are being emitted kind of ignite and create these illuminations that appear eerie, and people mistake those for something else, like ghosts or UFOs or some other intriguing or unusual things. But if this is the case, this is happening more and more often, and it begs the question, is it really greenhouse lights and gases or something else? While these instances may very well have a boring scientific explanation, there very well may be a far more intriguing and entertaining explanation. After all, without an explanation yet, we do have to entertain any ideas. One of the theories that really dives into the unknown, and certainly the unusual, is that this may very well be a dimensional opening. Now, before you start wisecracking, there is something to keep in mind. There is a company in Europe that is doing that very same idea. In Europe, if you're not aware, there is a company called CERN that is trying to pierce into another dimension. So, are these purple skies a dimensional opening? And maybe not. But who's to say that while we're trying to pierce into another dimension, that someone else is not trying to pierce into ours? Or maybe it's just simply swamp gas. And perhaps we will never know. But one thing is certainly intriguing, is as time goes by, it seems more and more people are reporting the purple skies. Could it be just Steve, the purple ribbon, very high above the earth, scattering that occurs after a storm? Swamp gas that just creates illusions of something else? Maybe. But one thing is certain. There is certainly more to find out. And until then, these all fall under the unusual, and some, certainly, the unknown.
Thank you for watching tonight's episode. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button. And for future episodes concerning the unknown and the unusual, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Everyone, again, thank you for watching. And remember to stay intrigued. Good night.